My dear brothers and sisters, let me lean in close and whisper something sweet and sacred into your spirit. There is power in prayer. Yes, there is might in the movement of your lips. There is fire in the quiet utterances of your soul, and there is freedom. Yes, freedom. In the humble cry that says, Lord, I need you. Each day is a blessing, but not every day feels like one. Some mornings you rise and feel like a conqueror, while other mornings you feel the weight of the world pressing down on your chest. But beloved, no matter what the morning brings, there are 3 prayers you must never forget to say. 3 prayers to light your path. 3 prayers to calm your storms. 3 prayers to bring God's hand into your every moment. Before the day has a name, before the sun peeks through the curtains, before your mind gathers all its worries like scattered marbles across a wooden floor, you must pause. You must gather your breath, cradle it like a newborn promise, and say the words that shift the heavens and calm the soul. Lord, thank you. It is not just a phrase. No, my dear, it is a sacred declaration. It is the soul's salute to the Almighty. It is the stretching out of trembling hands to a God who never sleeps. Gratitude is a garment you must wear before you step out into the world, because life has a way of clawing at you, trying to strip you of your joy, your dignity, your peace. But when you clothe yourself in thanksgiving, you walk with the power of heaven beneath your feet. Lord, thank you, you say, even when the cupboards are half empty, even when the body aches in places you cannot spell, even when the silence in your house feels louder than 1,000 screams. You say thank you not because life is always easy, but because God is always faithful. That is the secret. That is the balm. That is the difference between those who merely exist and those who live with their heads held high and their hearts set on hope. There is a holy strength in the one who can give thanks while the storm is still howling. There is a divine courage in the woman who says, thank you, while wiping her tears with the back of her hand. There is a heavenly kind of boldness in the man who whispers praise while standing in the valley of the shadow. Oh, beloved, gratitude doesn't wait for perfection. Gratitude is not the twin of abundance. It is the cousin of faith. It says, even though I don't see it, I believe it's working. Even though I don't feel it, I know He's near. Even though I don't have it yet, I thank Him as though I already do. That is the posture of the redeemed. That is the attitude of the blessed. That is the rhythm of a soul anchored in something higher than fear, something firmer than circumstance. You must understand this: gratitude is a key, and it unlocks doors you didn't even know existed. When you say, Lord, thank you, you are not just being polite. You are inviting miracles. You are opening your hands to receive what God already has prepared for you. You are building an altar in your soul where joy can dwell, even in the midnight hour. Lord, thank you for breath, you whisper, and suddenly the air in your lungs feels like holy music. Thank you for this roof, though it leaks. Thank you for this body, though it's tired. Thank you for my mind, though it has battled 1,000 storms and still remains unbowed. You find reasons to bless the name of the Lord, not because the journey is easy, but because He walks beside you every step of the way. And it's not just about the blessings you can count. It's also about the battles you survived. You see, sometimes gratitude is a war cry. It's the song you sing when you've made it through what should have broken you. It's the banner you wave after the heartbreak, after the betrayal, after the loss. Lord, thank you for keeping me when I couldn't keep myself. Thank you for staying when others walked away. Thank you for loving me when I was hard to love. In this life, there will always be something missing. That's the nature of earth. It's never quite enough. There will always be more to chase, more to fix, more to earn. But the person who can find contentment in the now, the person who can sit with today and say, it is well, That person has found the rhythm of heaven. That person has found the secret. And do not think for one moment that God does not hear those quiet thanks. He hears every syllable of sincerity. He leans close when you lift your voice in gratitude. The angels take note when you offer praise in the midst of pain. Heaven responds when you say thank you, even with trembling lips and tired bones. That, my dear, is the language of faith. That is the aroma of worship. Let your gratitude be a garden, and each thank you a seed. Water it with trust, tend it with humility, and in due season, joy will bloom where sorrow once lived. Peace will grow in the cracks of your past. And blessings, those sweet, unexpected miracles, will rise like morning dew on the fields of your surrender. Now, you might be thinking, but I have so little to be grateful for today. And to that I say, start with breath. Start with sight. Start with the fact that your heart is still beating. That is no small miracle, child. Start with what you have and watch it multiply. Because when God sees a grateful heart, He cannot help but respond. Gratitude is the magnet that draws favor. It is the melody that calls blessings home. So tomorrow morning, and the morning after that, and the 1,000 mornings to come, don't you dare start your day without lifting your voice to heaven. Let it be the first words on your lips, Lord, thank you. Let it rise above the noise. Let it hush the doubts. Let it shine like a lantern in the darkness, because when you live a life of thanks, you live a life of power. You live with heaven's wind at your back and God's whisper in your ear. And no matter what the world may throw at you, you will stand tall, you will stand strong, and you will stand victorious, because you've learned to begin each day with the most powerful words ever spoken. Lord, thank you. There comes a moment, early in the morning, when the world is still hushed and undecided, a sacred sliver of time before the demands of the day awaken and pull at your spirit. And in that space, that soft and tender space, you must speak not to the noise, not to the worry, but to the divine. You must say with the sincerity of a child and the wisdom of an old soul, Lord, guide me, guide me. For the path ahead is not always straight, nor is it always kind. The days stretch out like unfamiliar roads, winding and narrow, some paved in joy, others broken with sorrow. And though the map of life may be hidden from your view, the maker of all paths, He knows, He sees, He leads. To ask God for guidance is not weakness. It is strength. It is to say, I do not know, but I know the one who does. It is to admit that your own eyes are limited, your own understanding is imperfect, and your own plans may falter without the hand of the Almighty steering the course. Oh, how many have wandered simply because they never asked? How many have stumbled because pride kept their lips sealed when they should have whispered, Guide me, Lord. You see, the world will try to guide you. It will call your name in 1,000 tones, promising fulfillment, offering shortcuts, selling happiness in shiny, hollow packages. But if you follow its voice, you'll find yourself weary and wanting. Only the voice of the Lord leads to peace that passes understanding. Only the Spirit of God leads to pastures that satisfy the soul. When you ask Him to guide you, you're not just asking for direction. You're asking for presence. You're asking Him to walk beside you, whisper wisdom into your ear, open the right doors, and close the wrong ones. You're asking Him to shield you from detours that look good but end in ruin. You're inviting heaven to order your steps so your life becomes a living testimony and not a tale of regrets. So say it every morning, Lord, guide me. Say it before you speak to others, before you answer that text, before you make that decision. Say it when you're unsure, and say it again when you're overconfident. Because even on your best day, your own strength is not enough. Even in your brightest moment, you still need divine light to see what man cannot. Lord, guide my thoughts. You can whisper. Keep me from thinking too little of myself, and too highly of others' opinions. Guard me from the lies I've believed for too long. Teach me to think thoughts that are wholly kind and true. Then say, Lord, guide my words, for words are like seeds and swords. They can build or break, plant or pierce. You've seen the power of a single sentence, how it can lift someone from despair or drive them deeper into it. Ask Him to season your speech with grace. Ask Him to slow your tongue when anger rises and to sharpen it when truth must be told. And say, Lord, guide my feet. Keep me from walking into what looks good but is not God. Protect me from distractions dressed as blessings. Direct me to the places I'm meant to be, not just the convenient places, but the divine ones. Sometimes that may mean taking the harder path, the lonelier road. But child, trust me, the path God leads you down may not be crowded, but it is covered in favor. You must know, dear one, that God's guidance does not always come in thunderclaps or flaming signs. More often it arrives like a whisper in your soul, a nudge, a pause, a sense of peace you cannot explain. It may not make sense to the world, but if it aligns with His word and is wrapped in His peace, you can trust it. That's how God guides, through the soft persistence of His Spirit. Now, sometimes the answer will be, wait, and other times it will be go. And oh, how hard it is to wait when the world keeps running. But waiting on the Lord is not passive. No, it is a posture of strength. It is leaning into Him, trusting that if He is delaying, He is also protecting. If He is withholding, He is also preparing. And when the time is right, when your heart is ready and your steps are steady, He will say, now, and you will move, not in fear, but in faith. You are not just asking for guidance for the sake of getting things right. You are asking to stay in step with God's will. For what good is it to succeed at something that takes you far from the presence of God? What joy is there in reaching a destination He never called you to? The safest place, most blessed place, is in the center of His will, even if it doesn't look impressive to the world. So make it your song, make it your mantra. Let, Lord, guide me be the first melody of your morning and the last prayer before your head touches the pillow at night. Let it be your cry in confusion and your calm in chaos. Let it be the breath you take when the road forks and you don't know which way to turn. Because when the Lord guides you, child, you do not walk alone. You walk with angels at your side and purpose in your steps. You walk through fire and do not burn. You walk through valleys and do not faint. You walk into rooms you were not qualified to enter, but grace opens the door, and people may look at you and wonder how you keep your peace, how you make it through, how you continue to rise like the sun after a long, dark night. Let them wonder, and let your only answer be, I asked the Lord to guide me, and He did. Some mornings, when the world is quiet and the sky is still deciding how blue it wants to be, a prayer rises from the depths of the soul, not from desperation, not from fear, but from purpose. A prayer that breaks chains and opens heaven. A prayer that has no glitter, but is covered in gold. Lord, use me. It is not a prayer for the proud. It is not spoken from the seat of comfort. This is the prayer of the brave, the willing, the surrendered. It is the whispered anthem of the soul that understands yours. I am not my own. It is for the woman who has walked through fire and emerged, not but better. It is for the man who has lost much, yet still says, Here I am, Lord. Use even this. Lord, use me, means more than simply doing a good deed. It is the offering of one's very being. It is saying, Take this heart, though it has been broken. Take these hands, though they've trembled. Take this voice, though it has known silence. Take me, Lord, as I am, and make something holy with my life. Because the truth is, child, God doesn't need perfection to use you. He needs surrender. He doesn't wait for you to have a spotless history. He uses the very pages you tried to rip out. He takes your darkest chapters and turns them into psalms. He takes the pain you tried to bury and makes it a well that others can draw healing from. There is power in being used by God, not power that puffs up the chest or draws applause. No, this is the kind of power that washes feet, that weeps with the hurting, that builds bridges where there were once burning walls. This is holy power, humble, quiet, and world-changing. When you pray, "Lord, use me," you invite divine purpose to invade ordinary places. You invite miracles to come through mundane moments. Suddenly, a smile to a stranger becomes a sermon. A kind word becomes a lifeline. A small act of generosity becomes the answer to someone's desperate prayer. You may think what you have is little, just a bit of time, a few words, a listening ear, but baby, God can stretch the little into a legacy. He took 2 fish and 5 loaves and fed thousands. He can take your one, yes, and echo it through eternity. Don't underestimate the divine in your daily life. Now hear me, it won't always be glamorous. To be used by God means you may be called into places others avoid. You may be asked to love the unlovable, forgive the unforgivable, serve when it's inconvenient, and speak truth when silence would be safer. But in those very moments, when you lay down your comfort, you will find your calling. You'll feel it when you encourage someone who's at the edge of giving up. You'll feel it when you show up for someone who expected to be forgotten. You'll feel it when you say yes to something that scares you, but you do it anyway, because purpose has gripped your bones. And don't you think for 1 second that your past disqualifies you. In fact, your scars may be the very reason someone else finds hope. Your testimony, raw, real, unpolished, is someone else's roadmap. When God uses you, He doesn't hide the cracks. He fills them with light. You become a lantern in the dark. To pray, "Lord, use me," is also to accept that you may never see the full fruit of your obedience. Sometimes God will ask you to plant seeds you'll never see bloom, but plant them anyway. Because somewhere someone will walk in the shade of a tree that grew from your faithfulness. And isn't that a beautiful kind of legacy? You see, being used by God doesn't always look like preaching or performing. Sometimes it looks like showing up every day with love in your heart and grace on your lips. Sometimes it looks like rocking a crying baby, helping a neighbor, or calling someone who hasn't heard kindness in a long, long time. Sometimes it looks like simply being still, listening, waiting, praying, and in those small acts heaven sings. Let your life be a vessel. Let your words drip with life. Let your eyes see the hurting. Let your heart be moved by the things that move God. Let your days not be wasted on self alone. Because when you are used by God, you are part of something bigger than time, grander than fame, deeper than any earthly ambition. Say it again, even when you're tired, even when you don't feel worthy. "Lord, use me." Say it through your tears, through your fears, through your failures. Say it until your bones believe it and your spirit stands tall with purpose. Say it until heaven moves and your ordinary becomes sacred. For what is a life if not given? What is a voice if not lifted? What is a soul if not offered for something eternal? You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You were crafted with intention and placed on this earth not just to survive, but to shine. Your story, your strength, your wounds, your wonder. They were never just for you. They were given to you so that through you, someone else might find their way. So let your hands be open. Let your heart be ready. Let your life be a lamp. And when the morning comes again, say it with courage. Say it with hope, with fire. "Lord, use me." There is a sacred truth passed down from grandmothers and great-grandmothers, a knowing stitched into the quilt of our souls, that prayer does not need to be long to be powerful. Sometimes it is not the length of the words but the weight of the faith behind them. And I tell you now, child, There is more divine fire in a whisper from a believing heart than in 1,000 empty chants shouted to the sky. You see, we live in a world that measures worth by volume, by how much you say, how loud you speak, how long you talk. But the kingdom of God does not bow to noise. It bows to truth spoken with faith. It bows to spirit over show. God, oh yes. He hears the cry of the wounded mother who cannot form a sentence. He hears the trembling breath of a man whose pain won't let him speak. He hears the stammering whisper in the dark of night talk. Lord, please. That's all, just please. And heaven moves. Do not be fooled by theatrics. Do not believe you have to dress up your prayers in lace and lavender. God is not impressed by performance. He is moved by presence. When you come to him honest, raw, imperfect, he leans in close. The creator of the cosmos, the one who called the stars by name, is not seeking grammar. He is seeking heart. I have seen miracles wrought by a single sentence. I have watched deliverance come through one whispered word. Help. There is no formula required, no ceremony to pass. There is only faith. Faith like mustard seeds, faith like breath, faith like tears. The woman with the issue of blood did not preach. She just touched the hem. And the thief on the cross, with his last breath, said, "Remember me." And oh, God remembered. Sometimes the most powerful prayer you will ever say is simply, Jesus. And the atmosphere shifts. The chains break. The demons flee, because that name is power in and of itself. You do not need many words when the Word himself stands beside you. Sometimes one name is enough to silence 1,000 storms. There are times when life knocks the air out of you, when the grief is so thick, the pain so raw that you cannot string your thoughts together. Don't you worry, beloved. In those moments your silence speaks. Your tears preach. Your groaning is heard in the heavens like a symphony. Scripture tells us the Spirit intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words. That means even your sighs are sacred. Your gasps are a language angels understand. So stop measuring your prayers by their length. Stop comparing your whispered worship to someone else's loud declarations. The Lord does not count syllables. He waits sincerity. He does not seek eloquence. He looks for honesty. There is no shame in a short prayer. There is no weakness in a simple cry. Sometimes all you can say is, Lord, I'm tired. And he will wrap you in peace like a mother does her child. Sometimes all you can offer is, God, I don't know. And he'll hold your hand and lead you gently through the fog. And sometimes you say nothing at all. You just sit in his presence, and he fills the silence with grace. There is no rule that says you must pray for an hour to be heard. No verse that says you must shout to be seen. What God desires most is that you come, that you show up, that you sit at his feet, even if you have no words. Your presence is your prayer. Your surrender is your supplication. Oh, and let me tell you about the prayers said in the kitchen while the pot boils over, and the baby cries. The prayers whispered while folding laundry or driving to work. The soft, thank you, that slips from your lips as you watch the sun rise. These are not small things. These are the offerings of everyday holiness. These are incense rising from the altars of real life. Your life can be a prayer. Every act done with love, every breath offered with reverence, every step taken in faith, it all counts. It all matters. God collects your smallest moments and turns them into miracles. A 5-second prayer at the bus stop can change the course of a life. A 3-word cry in a hospital bed can summon angels. Never underestimate the power of a moment of connection with the divine. And oh, how the enemy would love for you to believe you're not doing enough, that your prayers are too small, too rushed, too flawed. But baby, if the only prayer you can say is, Lord, help me, you've said enough. If all you can whisper is, thank you, you've spoken heaven's language. If your voice cracks and you stutter, but your heart is reaching, God is already answering. Prayer is not a performance, it's a posture. a leaning in, a lifting up, a bowing down. Whether you are on your knees or behind a steering wheel, whether you are standing in a church or crying in a closet, He hears you. He sees you. He receives you. The most powerful prayers don't echo in cathedrals. They echo in hearts broken open. The most powerful prayers aren't always spoken aloud. They are lived. So let your life preach. Let your kindness be a conversation with God. Let your service be your supplication. Let your silence be soaked in His Spirit. Do not strive to impress. Strive to connect. God is already close. So open your mouth or open your heart. Speak if you can. Be still if you must. But know this, your prayer, no matter how short, is a key that opens heaven's gate. So whether your prayer is 1 word or 100, whether it is whispered or wept, know that it rises like perfume to the nostrils of God, and He, being rich in mercy, always listens, always sees, always responds. Each morning is a gift wrapped in mercy. It unfolds like a handwritten letter from heaven, bearing words we've yet to read, blessings we've yet to discover, and tucked deep inside the lining of every sunrise is a gentle call, not loud, not demanding, but patient and true. It says, "Come, talk to me again." There is something holy about the habit of returning, about placing your soul before the Lord not once in a while, not only when your heart is breaking, but every single day. Yes, there is power in consistency, power in rhythm, power in showing up again and again, even when your knees feel weak and your voice feels small. That is where the true transformation lies, in the quiet, daily surrender. You see, child, God is not looking for perfection. He's looking for presence. He's not measuring how poetic your prayers or how thunderous your praise sounds. He's watching to see if you will return to the well. Will you come back for water when your lips are dry and your spirit thirsts? Will you keep knocking when the doors stay closed a little longer? Will you lift your voice when the room feels empty and the heavens feel silent? Consistency in prayer builds a relationship, not a religion. It turns the act of prayer from a ritual into a rhythm, like the ocean's tide meeting the shore. A daily meeting with the Maker, a sacred repetition of intimacy. You may not see the change overnight. You may not feel fire every morning. But, give it time. Give it devotion. Give it honesty. And you will look back one day and not recognize the person you used to be. Because every prayer whispered in faith plants a seed. Some grow fast like wildflowers, bursting into bloom in the next season. Others take root deep beneath the soil, working quietly, invisibly. But all prayers sown in faith will bear fruit. Some in your hands, others in your heart, and many in the lives of those you may never meet. That is the mystery of prayer. It changes more than just your circumstance. It changes you. Every day you pray, you chip away at the old and let God build something new. Every day you bring your burdens to His feet. You are exchanging them for strength, piece by piece. It's like a sculptor working slowly on marble. At first, it just looks like a rock. But with time, with devotion, the masterpiece appears. That's what God is doing with you through prayer. He's shaping you into something holy, something whole. Do not be fooled by the silence. Even when you don't feel it, something is happening. You're becoming softer where you were once hard. You're finding patience where you once had panic. You're walking in peace where chaos once reigned. That's what happens when you come before the Lord every day. He works on you in the unseen, preparing you for the very thing you've been praying for. And don't think for a second that your consistency goes unnoticed. Heaven sees the one who returns every morning with coffee in hand and Bible on the lap whispering, "Here I am again, Lord." Heaven honors the one who gets out of bed, bone weary, and still kneels to say, "Thank you for this day." Heaven hears the one who's battling doubt, yet still says, "Guide me, Lord." That kind of faith, that steady, faithful, come what may kind of faith, moves mountains and shifts legacies. Consistency in prayer is how you make room for miracles. It's how you prepare a place for God to dwell in your life. It's how you clear out the clutter of fear and worry and make space for peace to bloom. When you meet with God daily, you don't have to search for His voice. You begin to recognize it in the wind, in the stillness, in the words of a friend, in the hush of your own soul. And let me tell you something, beloved. You are not the same person who started this journey. Maybe you haven't noticed it yet. Maybe the people around you haven't spoken it aloud. But God has been reshaping you in the secret place. Your resilience has grown. Your discernment has sharpened. Your heart has become more tender, more courageous, more like Christ. That's no accident. That's transformation born of consistency. You're becoming the kind of person who doesn't panic in storms because you've learned how to pray through them. You're becoming the kind of person who blesses others, not because you have everything, but because you've been in the presence of the one who does. Your consistency is turning your wounds into wisdom, your prayers into power. You are building a history with God. You are stacking stone upon stone, moment upon moment, prayer upon prayer. And someday, when you feel overwhelmed again, you'll be able to look back at that history and say, I know He'll come through. He always has. There is a fire that doesn't come from shouting. There is a boldness that doesn't come from the crowd. It comes from the still daily walk, the steady hand in hand with God, where you learn His ways, hear His voice, and feel His peace settle over your life like a blanket on a cold night. That, my dear, is what changes you from the inside out. So keep praying, keep rising, keep showing up, even when you're tired, even when you're unsure, even when all you can offer is your tears or your silence. Bring it, offer it, lay it down, because the God who met you on your worst day is the same God waiting to meet you again tomorrow. And every prayer you whisper, no matter how quiet, how simple, how uncertain, is a step toward transformation, a step toward purpose, a step toward the fullness of who He's calling you to be. And in the end, when you look back over the long stretch of your life, you'll see it wasn't the loud moments that shaped you most. It was the quiet ones, the consistent ones, the daily whispers that became a roar in heaven's ears. So rise again, beloved, return again, sit with Him, speak with Him, and let Him mold you in the morning light. Because consistency in prayer is not just the path to transformation. It is the transformation itself.